My name is Leilani Thatcher, a tour guide at the Library of Lost Things. This is The Doorstep Project, episode 36, Take the Taxi Home. Taxi drivers can tell you some interesting stories. They spent a good portion of their life memorizing the streets of their city, picking up and dropping off passengers from all backgrounds and collecting experiences. Everything from runaways to breakups, proposals to kidnappings, and anything in between. And of course, ghosts. In Japan, 2011, some taxi drivers were asked by their passenger to take them to homes which were destroyed by the tsunami. Most taxi drivers took these ghost friends to the ruins of their homes, though the passengers often disappeared before they ever reached their destination. In certain areas of New Orleans, taxi drivers declined to work in the early morning hours because of disappearing passengers leaving them without the check. Most people don't believe these stories. Ghosts are a strange phenomena that can't be proven by scientific means. Spirits and ghost encounters are usually thought of as superstition, or weird passengers, or outright lies. But Zoe always believed in ghosts. That's what she said when I interviewed her. She said her grandma taught her to believe in spirits and that she'd had experiences. This is the story of one of those experiences in New Orleans. She didn't specify a street or anything, but she said she worked as a taxi driver in New Orleans. I read it to you as she told it to me. I was working early that morning. A lot of taxi drivers down south don't work after midnight until about 4 or 5 a.m. It's safer, and you're almost guaranteed to be paid. The first time I picked up Amara, it was a few years ago, early Saturday morning around 2 a.m. She was wearing a very nice dress, red and gold, with a head wrap covering her hair. She thanked me profusely when she entered my cab, telling me no one was picking her up. She directed me to a church about 15 minutes away and sat back. Immediately, I was skeptical. She was not the first strange passenger I had, and I had a sneaking suspicion I had a spirit in my cab. I asked her why she was going to church, and she told me she was getting married. I congratulated her and complimented her dress, asking her questions about her fiancé. She thanked me, then told me he was kind, gentle, and patient. She asked if I was married, and I said no, that I had a boyfriend. I started telling her about him. She said something I couldn't quite make out. It was soft and maybe a little desperate, but when I looked back, she was gone. The next week, I saw her again, same street, same dress. She waved me down, and I decided to take her. I'm not sure why. I knew there was no money in it, but I felt that for some reason she was waiting for me. This time, when she got in my cab, she said, "I was hoping you'd pick me up today." I was hoping you would pick me up today. I asked her where I should take her, and she reminded me that she was getting married today. I didn't want to confuse her, so I told her I remembered and started driving. She asked me my name, and I asked her, and that's when I learned her name was Amara. She said her mother was Igbo and had moved her and her family to Louisiana when Amara was only 4. She'd met her future husband months ago and had only recently agreed to marry him. She started telling me about her dream wedding. She'd have yellow roses and orange daisies. She said they were her favorite flowers and asked me mine. I said I always loved magnolias. She asked me if my boyfriend knew that. I looked in my rear view and she was gone. It went on like that for a month or two. She'd tell me about her dream wedding, never her actual wedding I was taking her to, and ask me questions about my boyfriend. Things like, does he know that maroon fits you so well? Or does he know that you are allergic to strawberries? Does your boyfriend know about your childhood dog or your fear of crowds? Does he know what you do for work? I think that was the question I snapped at. Why wouldn't he? He's my boyfriend. Amara had smiled. Why wouldn't he? And she was gone. That week I started to notice, not for the first time, the things my boyfriend didn't know. It was strange. That next evening I got a call from my boyfriend asking if I wanted to go drinking with him. I told him I couldn't, that I had work. He asked what kind of place made me work so late on a Sunday night. I laughed. I thought he was joking, but he said, "No, seriously, I'll call your boss. That can't be legal." I explained that people still need taxis on Sunday evenings, and he seemed confused. I again explained that I had to do the night shift so I could spend time with him, that I'd been on the night shift for months now. He pretended to remember and told me he would be at the bar and he wanted to see me there. I didn't go. Monday was my day off. I called him, asked him what he wanted to do, and he said he was playing video games and didn't have time for me. And he asked why I wasn't at the bar on Sunday. Later that week, he picked me up after work and took me to breakfast. He ordered me strawberry crepes. I told him I was allergic to strawberries, and he told me not to be dramatic, that nobody was around to hear me complain. On Friday, he sent me daisies as an apology for the strawberry thing. I threw them away. On Saturday, I picked up Amara. We didn't speak for a while. Amara broke the silence. I married too young. I lived too short. I loved too little. And then quietly she asked me, "Does your boyfriend know it is your birthday?" I broke up with him that day. I didn't wait for him to wish me a happy birthday. I didn't ask for the gifts I knew were not coming. I broke it off and blocked him. My friends told me that he had kept calling them, and my mom said he stopped by her house. Eventually, he just stopped bothering me. I heard from a friend that he was recently thrown in jail. I decided I didn't want to know why. I still drove by Amara Street every Saturday evening, but she wasn't there. Even now, I drive down that street sometimes, even though I don't drive taxis anymore. I never planned on telling this story, but I saw her again just last month. I had been out too late and ended up near the old road I used to find Amara at. To my surprise, she was there, standing and waving just as she always did, but now she was wearing white. It was the same dress, same head wrap, but white. I pulled over and asked if I could take her to the church. On the way there, I got to tell her everything. How I broke up with my ex, where he was now, how I was engaged to be married in a few days. I thanked her for saving me from a bad situation. Amara stayed in the car all the way to the church this time. I never made it all the way there with the ghost. I got out of the car with her. Amara gave me one last smile. She thanked me for the ride, and I thanked her for the many talks we had. Amara opened the door to the church. There was a light on inside, and I swear I heard a choir singing, but when the door closed, it was all gone. The light, the music, and Amara Alendu were gone. I never talk about Amara. I researched her, though. She was married in 1962 in New Orleans. She had 7 kids, 2 of which died young. She died in 1983, only 41 years old. Her husband remarried a month later. It was said by those who knew her that she was kind, loving, and devout, that she had lived a hard life in an unloving marriage. She gave everything to her children and taught her family to live well. Whatever you believe about ghosts and spirits, I will never deny that Amara was an angel. I don't need you or anyone else to believe me. I still drive by that church and that street, but I know I will never see her again. And that's okay. I may not need her warnings anymore, but I will always remember them. And I hope that these memories mean something to her as well. I interviewed Zoe directly, and while I may not seem to be the type, I do believe in ghosts and spirits. I've seen a lot of strange things working here, so I fully believe that Amara Alendu helped Zoe. Thank you for listening to The Doorstep Project. This audio drama was created and produced by Family Friendly Podcasts. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave a rating and review on your podcast app of choice or share it with a friend. Leilani and the project will be back next week. Until then, write every day. One day, your story could be in a museum. The Doorstep Project is produced by Family Friendly Podcasts. It was written, edited, and performed by AJ Barton. Sound effects for this podcast are provided by Zapsplat. Music used in this podcast includes Reawakening by Kevin McLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. You can learn more at his website, incompetech.com, or at creativecommons.org. Both music and sound effects have been changed and edited by AJ Barton. Links for websites, information, and contact can be found in the description of the episode. Would you like to submit your story or art to the Doorstep Project? You can find information for story submission at familyfriendlypodcast.com/The Doorstep Project. Information on CC by 4.0 licenses can be found at creativecommons.org.